Welcome back. I'm Pratap here. Today is the 24th December 2024. In this video, I'm going to generate different supply demand zone reports useful to the premium subscribers. Even before that, all of you please understand we are providing complete free training on supply demand zone price action. All the training lessons are available at our NeoStock YouTube channel. You might be knowing the cost of the training is over $8,000 US, and we are providing complete free training. So please access all the videos at our NeoStock YouTube channel. At our channel homepage, please click on the tab Posts. Some of you might be seeing the tab Community. Click on the tab. You get access to our free training course. This post is having a YouTube playlist link that will take you to all the training lessons. You just click on the link. Now we are into the playlist Supply Demand Zone Price Action course. Here you have all the training lessons are available. You just need to scroll down to the bottom of the page. Here, starting from lesson 1.1, all the lessons are placed in an order. Please go through all these lessons one by one and strengthen your skills related to supply demand zone price action. I have also provided the link to our Telegram channel in this video description. Please join at our Telegram channel. It will be helpful to you. Now let's get into the report generation. First, let us identify the stocks near demand and supply zones for different time frames, starting with quarterly time frame. So quarterly time frame, stocks near quarterly demand zone. We got 3 stocks. I'm giving you only few seconds time to watch the report. I request you pause the video, study the report, and then you can proceed further. In case if you don't know how to understand the report, I request you complete our training lesson 21.1. In that video, I have explained each and every column, their values, abbreviations in detail. Okay, next, quarterly time frame, stocks near quarterly supply zone. 7 stocks are filtered. Next time frame is monthly, stocks near monthly demand zone. 9 stocks are filtered. Next, monthly time frame, stocks near monthly supply zone. 2 stocks are filtered. Next, monthly time frame, price closed inside the monthly demand zone. These monthly demand zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter at monthly time frame, I am selecting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Excuse me. Indicates monthly zone is not pierced. Pierced count 0 means zone is not pierced. Now let's filter the stocks. So these are the first 20 stocks where price closed inside the monthly demand zones. I am scrolling the list down. Total 28 stocks are filtered where price closed inside the monthly demand zone. We can further filter high probability supported monthly demand zones based on monthly EMA Confluence. So let me add that filter for these 28 stocks. So in the EMA Confluence filter at monthly time frame, I am setting the filter monthly demand zone having monthly EMA Confluence. And EMA Confluence is only in the trend, valid only in the trending market, but not in the sideways. That's why in the trend, zone violation trend, at monthly time frame, I am selecting up or down trend, but not sideways. So with these filters, out of 29 stocks, we got 14 stocks are filtered. These 14 stocks are having monthly demand zones with monthly EMA Confluence and also price closed inside the monthly demand zones. Okay, next monthly time frame. Price closed inside the monthly supply zone, and these monthly supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at monthly time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Let's filter. We got 5 stocks. Currently price closed in these 5 monthly supply zones. Now let's verify any of these monthly supply zones are having monthly EMA Confluence. So in the EMA Confluence at monthly time frame, monthly supply zones having monthly EMA Confluence filter is enabled, and also trend at monthly time frame should not be sideways. So I am selecting up or down trend with these filters. We did not get any stocks. Okay, next time frame is weekly. Stocks near weekly demand zone. 17 stocks are filtered. First 16 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 17 stocks are filtered. These are the stocks near weekly demand zone. Okay, next weekly time frame. Stocks near weekly supply zone. 8 stocks are filtered. Next weekly time frame. Price closed inside the weekly demand zone. These weekly demand zones should not be pierced. So at pierced count, weekly time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means weekly demand zones are not pierced. Let's filter. We got a big list. First 16 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 50 stocks are filtered where price closed inside the weekly demand zones. Okay, out of these 50 weekly demand zones, how many are having a weekly EMA Confluence? Let us filter. So I am adding the filter EMA Confluence at a weekly time frame. I am setting the filter weekly demand zone having weekly EMA Confluence. And during EMA Confluence, the trend should not be sideways. So at a trend at weekly time frame, I am selecting up or down trend but not sideways. Now with these filters, now the list is reduced. The first 17 stocks in the list where price closed inside the weekly demand zone, and also those demand zones are having weekly EMA Confluence. I am scrolling the list down. So total 23 stocks are filtered where price closed inside these weekly demand zones, and these weekly demand zones are also having weekly EMA Confluence. Okay, next report of weekly time frame. Price closed inside the weekly supply zone. These weekly supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at a weekly time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. With these filters, we got 14 stocks. Currently price closed in these 14 weekly supply zones. Out of these 14, let us verify how many are having weekly EMA confluence. The weekly supply zones having weekly EMA confluence. Let us set the filter in EMA confluence at weekly time frame. I am enabling the filter weekly supply zone having weekly EMA confluence. And also during the EMA confluence, the trend should not be sideways at weekly time frame. I am setting up or downtrend but not sideways. With these filters, we got 4 stocks. These 4 stocks are having supply zones with weekly EMA confluence, and current price closed in those weekly supply zones. Okay, this is about weekly time frame. Next time frame is daily. Entry time frame daily. Let us find the stocks where price is near to the daily demand zones. We got 8 stocks. From these 8 demand zones, daily demand zones, we should look for high liquidity zones. Godrej Properties having high liquidity daily demand zone. That's it. We have only one high liquidity daily demand zone from this list. High priority, high liquidity demand zones. Okay, next daily time frame. Let us find the stocks price near to the daily supply zone. 9 stocks are filtered. Let's identify high liquidity daily supply zones from this list. OIL is having a daily high liquidity supply zone. That's it. We have only one daily high liquidity supply zone from this list. Okay, next daily time frame. Price closed inside the daily demand zone, and these daily demand zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter at daily time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. With this filter, we got a big list. First 17 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So 41 stocks are filtered. Currently price closed in these 41 daily demand zones. Okay, now we can further filter this list based on daily demand zones having daily EMA confluence. Let's add that filter. In the EMA confluence at a daily time frame, I am setting the filter daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence, and during this EMA confluence trend should not be sideways, otherwise EMA confluence does not give any extra advantage. So in the trend daily time frame, I am selecting up or down trend but not sideways. So with this filter, we got 16 stocks. Out of 40, the list is reduced to 16. And all these 16 daily demand zones are having daily EMA confluence. And also the current price closed inside the daily demand zone. Okay, next daily time frame. Price closed inside the daily supply zone. These daily supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at a daily time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0, and let me filter. So first 15 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. Total 20 stocks are filtered where price closed inside these daily supply zones. Okay, among these daily supply zones, how many of these supply zones are having daily EMA Confluence? We can further filter them. So I'm going to add the filter EMA Confluence on daily time frame. But this time I'm selecting the filter daily supply zone having daily EMA Confluence. And the trend should not be sideways at daily time frame. So I'm selecting up or down trend. With this filter, we got 8 stocks. Currently price closed in these 8 daily supply zones, and these daily supply zones are having daily EMA Confluence. Okay, now let us look into the next time frame. 125 minutes. Stocks near 125 minutes demand zone. 12 stocks are filtered. Next, 125 minutes time frame. Stocks near 125 minutes supply zone. 7 stocks are filtered. Okay, next time frame is 75 minutes. Entry time frame 75 minutes. Let us find the stocks near 75 minutes demand zone. 11 stocks are filtered. Let's identify the high liquidity zones from this list. First one is NIFTY Financial Services, high liquidity zone. Next, MFSL is having high liquidity zone. Siemens is having high liquidity zone. We have identified 3 high liquidity 75 minutes demand zones from this list. Okay. Next, 75 minutes time frame. Let us find the stocks near 75 minutes supply zone. 7 stocks are filtered. Let us identify high liquidity 75 minute supply zones from this list. Infy is having a high liquidity 75 minute supply zone. Oberoi Realty is also having 75 minutes high liquidity supply zone. So we have identified 2 high liquidity 75 minute supply zones from this list. Okay, next time frame is 25 minutes. Stocks near 25 minutes demand zone. We got 9 stocks. Next, 25 minutes time frame. Stocks near 25 minutes supply zone. 11 stocks are filtered. Next time frame is 15 minutes. Stocks near 15 minutes demand zone. 7 stocks are filtered. Let's find how many of these 15 minutes demand zones are having ITF demand zone confluence. That is 15 minutes demand zone with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. So with this filter, out of the 7 stocks, we got 3 stocks. So these 3 15 minutes demand zones are part of the 75 minutes demand zone. That is what zone confluence. Okay, next for 15 minutes time frame, stocks near 15 minutes supply zone, 5 stocks are filtered. Let's verify how many of these zones are having ITF supply zone confluence. That is 15 minute supply zone with 75 minute supply zone confluence, enabling that filter. So with this filter, we got 2 stocks, and both these 15 minute supply zones are part of the 75 minute supply zone. Okay, next time frame is the 5 minutes. Stocks near 5 minutes demand zone. 8 stocks are filtered. Let's verify how many of these demand zones are having ITF demand zone confluence. That is 5 minutes demand zone with 15 minutes demand zone confluence. I'm enabling the filter. With this filter, we got 2 stocks. And these two 5 minutes demand zones are part of the 15 minutes demand zone. Okay, next 5 minutes time frame. Stocks near 5 minutes supply zone. We got 13 stocks. Out of these 13, how many are having ITF supply zone confluence? Let us find. That is 5 minute supply zone with 15 minute supply zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. So with this filter, we got 3 stocks. Out of these 3, first one is invalid and third one is invalid. Only second one is valid. First and third zones are pierced zones. Okay, this is about stocks near demand and supply zones for different time frames. Now let me generate NIFTY and BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain. Let me start with NIFTY, generating monthly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. This is NIFTY monthly supply demand zone chain. Always look into the zone column to find high liquidity zones. Look into the pierced column to find the pierced zones. And look into the LTF trend to find the trend of the current time frame you have selected. Same rules you can apply to the remaining supply demand zone chain reports. And also don't forget to pause the video when you are moving from one report to another report, because I am giving you only few seconds time. Okay, next, weekly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, daily supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, 125 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, 75 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, 25 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, 15 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Until 26 supply zones you have. If you want more demand zones, I am scrolling the list down. Okay, next 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. All are supply zones. I am scrolling the list down so that you can also find demand zones. So this is about the NIFTY supply demand zone chain. Next, I am going to generate a BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain. Okay, monthly supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, weekly supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, daily supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 125 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Okay, next 75 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next 25 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next 15 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Okay, this is about the Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain. If you want more demand zones, I am scrolling the list down. So with this we have completed both Nifty and Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain. Next set of reports are bullish and bearish trade setups for monthly, weekly and daily income trades. First I am generating monthly income trade bullish trade setup. Entry time frame daily, entry zone demand zone, bullish or bearish trade setup at daily time frame. I am selecting bullish, and daily demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at a daily time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone, minimum odd enhances score 12. And these three filters are applied to daily demand zone. So with this we got 18 stocks. Currently these 18 stocks are supporting bullish trade setup for monthly income trade, and these entry time frames are daily demand zones. Out of these 18 daily demand zones, they are all supporting bullish trade setup. And out of these 18, there could be even more high probability bullish trade setup supported stocks might be available for monthly income trade. We need to filter them. So the first filter we are going to use LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. That is a daily and a weekly demand zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. So with this filter, out of 18 stocks, we got 13 stocks. In all these 13 stocks, the daily demand zones are part of the weekly demand zone. Because daily is part of the weekly zone, and if weekly zone is having weekly EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup. Because in weekly, that is ITF is weekly, the trend is uptrend. So that's why EMA confluence makes sense in the trending market. So I'm adding the EMA filter for these 14 stocks at weekly time frame, because the daily zone is part of the weekly zone. So weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence filter is enabled. With this filter we got 9 stocks. So these 9 stocks are high probability trade setup supported stocks. Okay, next we will add the next filter LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence. I am removing EMA filter, and we need to add 3 filters. That is a daily, weekly and monthly demand zone confluence. First filter is already enabled, daily with weekly zone confluence. And next, daily demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence. Third filter, weekly demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence. With all the three filters, LTF, ITF, HTF, demand zone confluence, we did not get any stocks. Okay. Next, let us look for bearish trade setup, monthly income trade, entry time frame daily, entry zone supply zone, bullish or bearish trade setup parameters at a daily time frame. I am selecting bearish. These daily supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter at a daily time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone, minimum odd enhancer score 12. All three filters are applied to daily supply zone. Let's filter. We got only one stock. Let's verify this stock is having ITF supply zone confluence. That is daily supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence filter. I am enabling. With this filter, the stock is filtered. So it's a high probability setup. But if this weekly supply zone is having weekly EMA confluence, it is even more high probability trade setup supported stock. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at weekly time frame, weekly supply zone with weekly EMA confluence filter is enabled, and now the stock is filtered. So it is even more high probability trade setup supported stock. And we will also verify whether it is having LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence. Removing this EMA filter. And in the supply zone confluence, three filters we need to set. Daily supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence is already enabled. Next, daily supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence, and weekly supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence. With all the three filters, LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence, we did not get that stock. But that is a high probability because it is having LTF, ITF confluence and also EMA confluence. Okay, next let us look for bullish trade setup for weekly income trade, entry time frame 75 minutes, entry zone, demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at 75 minutes time frame, I am selecting bullish. These 75 minutes demand zones should not be pierced. So at the pierced count at 75 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone, minimum odd enhancer score 12. All three filters are applied to 75 minutes demand zone. Let's filter. We got 7 stocks. These 7 stocks are supporting bullish trade setup for a weekly income trade. Entry time frame is 75 minutes demand zones. Out of these 7 75 minutes demand zones, let us find a high probability setup supported zones based on LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. So in the supply zone confluence, demand zone confluence, this is 75 minutes demand zone. LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. That is 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence filter is enabled. With this filter, we got 5 stocks. We have to use demand zone confluence for bullish trade setup, supply zone confluence for bearish trade setup. Because this is bullish trade setup, we used demand zone confluence. Okay, so these 5 stocks are filtered. In these 5 stocks, ITF trend, that is daily trend is up. If any of these stocks are having daily EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at a daily time frame, because 75 minutes demand zone is part of the daily demand zone. That's why we are looking for daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence. With this filter, we got 2 stocks. So these 2 daily demand zones, 75 minutes demand zones are even more high probability trade setup zones. That's why these zones are already tested 5 times and second one 2 times. Generally what happens, the zone after the test it will be violated. But they are supporting multi-testing, and also these are the high liquidity 75 minutes high liquidity demand zones. Okay, this is about LTF and ITF demand zone and with EMA confluence. Next, let us look for LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence. Removing this EMA filter. In the demand zone confluence, we should set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled, 75 with daily demand zone confluence. Second filter, 75 minutes demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. And the third one, daily demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence, we got 2 stocks. Even NIFTY is also filtered. Okay, out of these 2, BEL is having uptrend. Let us check if BEL is having a HTF EMA confluence. HTF means weekly. Because in these 2 stocks, 75 minutes, these 75 minutes demand zones are part of the daily demand zone. Both together again part of the weekly demand zone. And that's why in the EMA confluence at weekly time frame, we are setting the filter weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence, and second one is filtered. First one filtered, but EMA confluence does not make any sense in sideways. But in uptrend, definitely this EMA confluence is having significance. Okay, this is about a bullish trade setup for a weekly income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for weekly income trade, entry time frame 75 minutes, entry zone, supply zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at 75 minutes time frame, I am selecting bearish. These 75 minute supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 75 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone, minimum odd enhancer score 12. All 3 filters are applied to 75 minute supply zone. So let's verify. We got 12 stocks. And these 12 stocks are supporting bearish trades, bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. And all these entry time frame zones are 75 minute supply zones. Out of these 12 75 minute supply zones, there could be some high probability setup supported stocks might be available. We need to filter them. So first filter is based on LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. Let's add that filter for these 12 stocks. LTF, ITF, that is 75 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. With this filter, out of 12, we got 8 stocks. That means in these 8 stocks, all these 75 minute supply zones are part of the daily supply zone. That is what overlapped zone confluence. And the daily means ITF. The daily trend is a downtrend. You can look for daily supply zones with daily EMA confluence. Let's add that filter in the EMA confluence at a daily time frame. Why daily? Because 75 minute supply zone is part of the daily supply zone. And that's why we are looking for daily supply zone with daily EMA confluence. With this filter, we got 4 stocks. So these 4 are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Okay, next let us look for LTF and ITF and HTF supply zone confluence. I am removing EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, we should set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled, that is 75 minutes with the daily supply zone confluence. Second filter, 75 minute supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence. Third, daily supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence. With all the three filters, LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence, we got two stocks. In these two stocks, these 75-minute supply zones are part of the daily supply zone, both together again part of the weekly supply zone. And the weekly trend is down only for the first stock. Ignore the second one. If the first one is having weekly EMA confluence, it is even more high probability trade setup supported stock. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at weekly time frame, because 75 and daily together part of the weekly supply zone. That's why we are looking for weekly supply zone with weekly EMA confluence. We got only Crompton, it is a sideways, so it does not give any extra advantage. But it's a good stock because it is having high liquidity supply zone, even though it is not having EMA confluence. Okay, this is about bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Next is about daily income trade, bullish trade setup, entry time frame 15 minutes, entry zone, demand zone, bullish or bearish trade setup at 15 minutes time frame. I am selecting bullish. These 15 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter at 15 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone, minimum odd enhancer score 12. All three filters are applied to 15 minutes demand zone. Let's filter. We got 4 stocks. These 4 stocks are supporting bullish trade setup for daily income trade, and the entry zones are 15 minutes demand zones. In these 4 15 minutes demand zones, let us find high probability setup supported stocks based on zone confluence, that is the LTF and ITF demand zone confluence, that is 15 minutes and 75 minutes demand zone confluence. I enabled the filter. With this filter, in the 4 stocks, we got 3 stocks. Out of 4, we got 3 stocks. In these 3 stocks, these 15 minutes demand zones are part of the 75 minutes demand zone, and 75 minutes trend is uptrend, ITF trend. If any of these 3 stocks are having daily EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at 75 minutes time frame, why? Because the 15 minutes demand zone is part of the 75 minutes demand zone. That's why we are looking for 75 minutes demand zone with daily EMA confluence. With this filter, we got 1 stock. So this is a high probability trade setup supported stock. That's why this zone is already tested 2 times. Okay, next let us look for LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence. I am removing this EMA filter. In the demand zone confluence, we should set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled, 15 minutes demand zone with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. Second filter, 15 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. Third filter, 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters are enabled, LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence, we got 1 stock. So in this 15 minutes demand zone is part of the 75 minutes demand zone. Both together again part of the daily demand zone, and daily trend is uptrend. If this daily demand zone is having daily EMA confluence, this stock could be even more high probability trade setup supported stock. Already it is a high probability because it is a high liquidity zone. LTF, ITF, HTF zone confluence is there. Let's look for one more parameter, EMA confluence, if it is available or not. So in the daily time frame, 15 minutes and 75 minutes zones together part of the daily zone. That's why we are looking for daily demand zone with daily EMA confluence. With this filter, we did not get the stock. That means the stock is not having EMA confluence, but it is having a high liquidity zone, and also it is having a LTF, ITF, HTF zone confluence. Only EMA confluence is missing. No issues. Okay, next bearish trade setup for daily income trade, entry time frame 15 minutes, entry zone, supply zone, bullish or bearish trade setup at 15 minutes time frame. I am selecting bearish. This 15 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 15 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score 12. All three filters are applied to 15 minute supply zone. Now let's filter the stocks. We got 9 stocks. Excuse me. So these 9 stocks are currently supporting bearish trade setup for daily income trade. And all these entry zones are 15 minute supply zones. All these supply zones are 15 minute supply zones. Out of these 9 15 minute supply zones, there could be some high probability setup supported zones might be available. We need to filter them. The first filter is based on LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That is 15 minutes and 75 minutes supply zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. With this filter, out of 9 stocks, we got 8 stocks. In all these 8 stocks, these 15 minutes demand supply zones, these 15 minute supply zones are part of the 75 minute supply zone. And the 75 minutes trend is down in all the stocks, that is ITF trend. If any of these 75 minute supply zones are having daily EMA, those stocks are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's verify. In the EMA Confluence at 75 minutes time frame, because 15 minute supply zone is part of the 75 minute supply zone. That's why we are looking for 75 minute supply zone with daily EMA Confluence. With this filter, out of 8 stocks, we got only 1 stock. So this is even more high probability trade setup supported stock. See, already it gave 1 test successful. Okay, next let us look for LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence. I am removing EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, we need to set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled, that is 15 minute supply zone with 75 minute supply zone confluence. Second filter is a 15 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. Third filter, 75 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. All 3 filters are enabled. Now we get LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence stocks. We got 4 stocks. In these 4 stocks, these 15 minute supply zones are part of the 75 minute supply zone, both together again part of the daily supply zone. And the daily trend is down only in 2 stocks. So if first stock and second stock are having daily EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let us verify. In the EMA confluence at a daily time frame, daily supply zone with daily EMA confluence with this filter, we got 1 stock. Second one you have to ignore, it is sideways, but first one is a high probability, more high probability trade setup supported stock. So this is about bearish trade setup for daily income trade. And in the final report, let us generate stop buffers based on daily ATR. And the first 17 in the list are indices, remaining all are equity stocks. So what I do, I scroll the list down, whichever the stock you want to refer, there you pause the video and then you can proceed further. Okay, I am scrolling the list down. So this is the end of the report. Hope this information will be useful to you for your further study and analysis. Let's all meet again in our next video. Thank you.